Good afternoon, and then welcome to science class for this afternoon.
Sorry, Miss.
So we are going to continue with our topic as we started on Monday. I think this should be the last section on plants and animals. Then we can, so let me say today is going to be the last time we are discussing plants and animals. So after today, from next week, be looking at a new topic. Okay. All right. So far, what have we learned about plants and animals? Let me ask you some few questions. On Monday, we looked at the parts of plants. What did we learn about the parts of plants? Yes, Adama. Adama, are you speaking? If you are speaking, I can't hear you. So kindly unmute your microphone and let me hear you.
Plants and animals need water to grow.
Okay, plants and animals need water to grow. Very good. So that is a similarity between plants and animals. Please put your leg down. So on Monday, we learned about parts of plants and then similarities between plants and animals. Yes, Lale, your hand is up. Okay. Yes, Michelle, what did you learn about the similarities between plants and animals? Okay, so before Lale speaks, let me hear from Michelle.
We learned that Lale said what I was going to say.
Lale hasn't spoken yet. She hasn't spoken yet. So how did she say what you were going to say?
What I was going to say was said already.
So is that the only similarities we learned about plants and animals? We learned a lot about similarities apart from the fact that they all need water and food to grow. What else did we learn? We learned something else. That wasn't the only thing we learned. It means you haven't gone through your notes. Like Slali, let me hear from you. Are you blowing a balloon? Yes.
My mommy wanted to say sorry because she was trying to send me an email.
Oh, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, and Yonyam. And Yonyam, what did we learn about the similarities between
I can't hear you.
Okay, so I said that on Monday we learned about similarities between plants and animals. Can you mention one?
Plants grow and need what food to eat.
What is that common thing between, what is the common thing between plants and animals? Adoma said that plants and animals both need water and food to grow. What else can you say about plants and animals?
Plants and animals grow day by day.
It's the same thing. What other thing can you say? Yes, Michelle.
Humans are babies, like how baby humans are.
They do what?
Some animals don't give birth to eggs, like how humans don't give birth to eggs.
Human beings don't give birth to eggs. Really? Did we learn that? Did you say human beings give birth to eggs?
Like how human beings don't.
Please make sure you are sure of what you are saying, because the way you are talking is that plants and animals reproduce. And we looked at the different ways by which animals reproduce. We said some animals reproduce by laying eggs, and then some reproduce by giving birth to their young ones. That is what we said, okay? We didn't say animals lay eggs like human beings do. Human beings don't lay eggs. Okay, we are moving on to today's lesson. Please, okay, so today we are going to look at habitats of plants and animals. Habitats of plants and animals. So I'm sharing my screen so that together we can see what the habitats of plants and animals are. Who has ever heard of the word habitat? Who has ever heard of the word habitat? Nobody has heard of habitat? Is it a new word?
No, it's only there. Only here. That broke. It's not a.
Yes, Lale, your hand is up. What do you have to say? Please, if you are not ready to talk, don't stop playing with the buttons, okay? You are interrupting the class when you do that. Because I have to stop and then spend several minutes and you're not talking. If you're not talking, don't raise your hand. Okay, let me continue. So this is the learning objectives that we have. Lale, your hand is up again. What do you have to say? Unmute your microphone and speak.
I've heard habitats before.
Okay, so do you know the meaning of habitat?
No, but I've heard it before.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, let's continue. Let's find out the meaning of habitat. So by the end of this lesson, students should be able to explain what a habitat and environment is, and then name and explain the different habitats of plants and animals. Yes, Michelle.
I've heard the word habitat and I know what a habitat is.
Okay, what does it mean?
It's somewhere an animal lives.
Okay, well done. Thank you. Let's continue. So these are the key words. We have environment, habitat, terrestrial, and aquatic. Now, like Michelle said, a habitat is a place, it's not only animals. A habitat is a place where living things live, okay? All living things live in a habitat. A habitat is the same as a home, okay? So a habitat means what? A home. So a habitat is the home of what? Every living thing. So plants have their home, they have a habitat. Animals have a habitat. Human beings have a habitat. And a habitat is the environment, okay? Every living organism's habitat, every living thing's habitat has conditions that make the living thing what? Grow and survive, okay? If you live in a place where there are no conditions that will help you grow and survive, you will die. For example, like we learned last week about continents, we learned that there is a continent that human beings don't live there because it doesn't have the conditions for human beings to live, grow, and survive over there. Okay, so the human beings who go there only go there for a short while and then they leave. Okay, the same way we have some animals, and that continent is Antarctica. Okay, we learned that there are some animals that live there because the conditions over there are suitable for them. But there are other animals that cannot survive in Antarctica. The same way the animals in Antarctica, for example, the penguin, cannot survive on a continent that is hot like Africa. Okay, so your habitat wherever you live should be made up of what? Conditions that will enable you what? Grow and survive. And this is what we are going to learn about. So we are going to look at some of the homes, some of the habitats of plants, and then some habitats of what? Animals. Our main focus is on what? Plants and animals. Is that okay? Did you understand what I just explained? Can we go on? Okay, just give me a wave if you understand and we can go on. Okay, very good. So the habitats of plants and animals can be grouped into two. Okay, we have the terrestrial and then aquatic. Adoma, say terrestrial. Try saying it. I know it's a big word, but you can make it.
Terrestrial.
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 Very good. We shall also try it.
Terrestrial.
Good. And Yunya? Also try pronouncing the word.
Terrestrial.
And then finally, Lale.
Terrestrial.
Very good. So terrestrial simply means land. Okay. It simply means what? Land. Okay. And then we also have aquatic. Aquatic, which means what? Water. So this is to tell us that. So this means that plants and animals can live on land and they can live in water. Is that okay? Some plants grow in water. Today we are going to look at a lot of images. Today's lesson is all about using images to explain, because what you see is what you believe. So some plants grow on land, which we know, the ones we see around us, okay? And then some plants also grow what? In water, okay? We have animals that also live what? On land, and animals that live in what? Water. So we are going to look at examples. Yes, Michelle, your hand is up.
I've seen a tomato plant grow in water.
Come again.
I've seen a tomato plant grow in water.
You've seen a tomato plant grow in water. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Okay, another person's hand is up. Who is that? Lale, let's hear you.
I think I know a plant that grows inside water.
Okay, what's the name of that plant?
I think it's seaweed.
But you don't know the name.
Seaweed.
Okay,
Seaweed. I know it. Seaweed.
I can't hear you. Okay, so let's continue. So, Michelle, can you read this? So this is what I just explained, that every living thing needs what? Conditions to survive and grow. If you know your microphone is unmuted, mute it. And stop playing with the mute and unmute button. So like this is about what I explained, that every living thing needs what? Certain conditions to survive, okay? So this is what I've just explained. The home of every living thing is called a habitat. So be sure you have a habitat, you live on land in your special home. Aduma, you also live on land in your special home. Lale, you also live on land, you don't live in water. There is no human being that lives in water. Human beings don't live in water. Human beings live on land. So our habitat is terrestrial. It's land. Okay. So let's look at some of the examples of habitats of plants and animals. Yes, Lali, are you going to ask a question? Okay. Then don't raise your hand unless you have a question to ask. Okay.
Water.
So here it. So the
Live in water. Mermaids do. Mermaids live in water.
mermaids, are they human beings? Are they real human beings? We're talking about human beings like you and I. Okay. We're talking about human beings like you and I. We don't live in water.
Half fish, half human.
We are
Half fish, half
human beings, okay?
Half fish, half human.
Okay, so let's continue. So, first example of terrestrial habitat, animals and plants that live on land. So, we realize that, okay, Michelle, read this. I want you to read yourself. Michelle, read what you see on your screen.
Some plants grow in a park. Some animals also live in a park together with plants.
Like I said earlier on, plants and animals can live together in the same place, okay? So this is an example of a place where you have both plants and animals living, a park. There are some parks where you have only plants, but definitely you find some birds around. So it's still plants and animals, okay? So this is an example of a park where plants grow and survive. So in this park, you have what? Trees. We learned that trees are also what? Plants. So we have trees growing in the park. And we have a park here where, is it monkey or chimpanzee? Well, this looks like a chimpanzee if I'm right. What does it look like? Yes, Lali. Kayla, what does this look like?
It looks like a chimpanzee.
Very good. So chimpanzees, okay. So these two pictures are examples of what? A habitat where you have plants and animals. So one habitat of plants and animal is what? The park. Okay, so the
Like a baby monkey.
place where plants and animals grow and survive. They live there. They have conditions over there. When you go to the park, you have, in some parks, you have streams where water flows. So they go to the stream for water. The animals feed on some of the plants, okay? The animals feed on some of the plants to survive. So in that habitat, they have conditions that make them grow and survive. Let's look at another place where plants grow. In the garden. In the garden. So we have images here of plants growing and surviving in gardens. So the garden is also another habitat of plants. Okay. So the park, the garden. Yes. What other place can we have plants grow? Apart from the park and the garden, yes. Which other place can we have plants grow? Yes, Kayla. Yes, Kayla.
Like in our homes.
In our homes, we have gardens. So we can say gardens, okay? All right. Yes, any other? Mignonette. Yes, Mignonette. Your hand was up.
They can go in forest.
Forest.
They
Okay,
can go in the forest.
very good. So the forest is also a place where plants and animals live, grow, and survive. So the forest is also one habitat. So if in an exam or in a test, I ask you mention some habitats of plants and animals, you can talk about the park and then the forest, okay? But if I say mention habitats of plants, only plants, you can add a garden to it. Animals don't grow and live in gardens. Well, some of you in your homes, you keep your animals in your gardens. Maybe the smaller ones. Okay, but we are going to learn more. Okay, all right, so let's continue. Now we have some plants and animals that grow and survive in the desert. My spelling of desert. In the desert. What do you know about the desert? Yes. Does anybody know anything about the desert? Yes, Michelle.
A desert has no plants but cactuses and bushes. A desert is where the only plants you see are cactuses and gray bushes.
Michelle, I really can't hear you. When you are speaking, speak out so that I can hear what you are saying.
A desert is where the only plant you see is cactuses and dry bushes.
Are you describing what you are seeing on your screen? I didn't ask you to describe what you see on your screen. I asked that, what do you know about deserts? Okay, so a desert, we all know that a desert is a place, a very dry place where we can hardly find food and water, right?
A desert is a place where the sand is as far as your eyes can see.
Who is speaking?
And even farther.
Okay, well done. Let me hear Mignonette. What do you know about a desert?
I know that camels can survive there.
Yeah.
And there's no water. No human can survive there.
Okay. All right. Okay, good. So a desert is a very dry place where it's difficult to find food and water. And honestly, human beings cannot survive there because there is no food, there is no water. And human beings need food and water to live. But plants,
Fasted 40 days
oh, who
in
is
the
this?
desert.
Mute your microphone. Can I finish speaking? But some plants, I said what? Some, not all. Some plants and animals can grow and survive in the desert. So an example is the cactus and then the camel. Now, why are these plants able to survive there? You see, the cactus has special leaves. This is what we describe as the leaves of the cactus. It doesn't have leaves like the other plants. But this green part of the cactus is able to store enough water. It is able to store enough water. I don't know whether it's able to make some water for itself. And that is why the cactus is able to survive. And then the camel is also the kind of animal that stores a lot of water. Okay. And that is why the cactus and the camel are able to survive in the desert. So some plants and animals can survive in the desert. So if I ask you, give me an example of plants and animal that can survive in the desert, then you can tell me what? Cactus and what? Camel. Is that okay? Is that okay? Give me a wave if that is clear. Okay, Bishop, do you have a question? Your hand was up.
I didn't hear you after you said that. Then we can say that cactus and camel can live in the desert. I didn't hear what
I said, give me a wave if you have understood
you
it.
repeated.
That is what I said. I said, give me a wave if you understand what I just explained. So I said that if I ask you to give me an example of plants and animals that survive in the desert, you can mention what? The cactus and then what? The camel. Now,
Miss Justina.
oh, who is this? Just raise your hand. I told you that I'm recording. So when you keep on, okay. Let's look at another habitat of animals. This is a habitat of animals. Okay. So after this lesson, watch this video over and over again and get the difference. There are some habitats where plants and animals live. There are some that only animals live. And then there are some that only plants live. Okay. Now, this is a hole. And you read what you see on your screen.
Some animals live in holes. Example are rabbits, squirrels, and snakes.
Very good. So this is a hole. Rabbits live in what? Holes. Okay. Snakes also live in holes. Some snake lives in fact, most snakes live in holes. So this is a picture of a snake entering its hole. And this is a picture of a rabbit coming out of its hole. And then there's a picture of the squirrel also coming out of its hole. The squirrel makes their holes in a tree. And then they live in it. They are popping their head out. They are very cute. And they're cute. So this is also one habitat, okay? Then let's look at another habitat, the den, where lions live. So the habitat of a lion is a den. So if I ask you, what is the habitat of lions? You can talk about the den and you can talk about the what? The forest. Am I right? Those of you who watch Animal Kingdom, those of you who watch National Geographic Channel, you learn a lot of these. You learn a lot of things about animals when you watch that channel. So I'll entreat you to watch. Those of you who like
I never was geographic.
I've not asked you to speak.
Say
You need to speak, raise your hand. I'm just giving a suggestion. Let me finish. Then you can raise your hand and I'll call you to speak. I said that those of you who like watching Animal Kingdom and then the National Geographic Channel, you learn a lot of these things. You learn a lot about plants and animals. Okay. So the lions live in a den. This is an example of a den. They create, so that when you go into the thick forest, they have their dens in the forest, okay, where they live. Okay, very good. Now, and you can go ahead and speak.
I don't like watching National Geographic.
That's fine. All right, let's continue. So that is it about land. Okay, so you can find a lot of habitats, a lot of homes on land. Okay, so I think I have mentioned about 5 or 6 of them: the park, the garden, the forest, the hole, the den, the desert. I think I've mentioned about 6 of them. You can find more. You can find more. Google is always there. And you type habitats of plants and animals. And then there is a video we have to watch. But maybe when we go into the second session, we'll watch it. We'll go into a second session. So when the meeting ends, you click on the link and come back to the class. Is that okay? All right. So let's look at any question before we move on to aquatic habitats. Yes, Adoma.
Please, I've learned about hummingbird.
I didn't hear you. Come again.
Please, they say hummingbirds are faster than cheetah.
I said hummingbirds are faster than cheetah, or you read it somewhere. Adoma, we've learned that terrestrial habitats are habitats that are found where? Can Adoma hear me? So terrestrial habitats are habitats that are found where? Yes, Michelle.
On land.
On land. Very good. Thank you very much. What are some of the habitats that we looked at? What are some of the habitats on land, the terrestrial habitats that we have looked at? Yes, we have looked at 6 of them. Mention one, Michelle. Yes, Michelle, mention one.
Please come again.
Mention one of the terrestrial habitats we have learned.
Holes.